Hello, my third, fourth, and fifth grade students. It is Mrs. Fuller, your fourth grade teacher, here to read with you tonight our book, Dr. Nicholas is Ridiculous. I thoroughly love my Weirder School series. So there are other books in this series that you can look up and read. They are come in digital copy and paperback. They're fairly cheap to get them online. But I have to say, out of the ones I've read so far, I haven't read all of them, this one is my favorite so far. It is hilarious. And I'm starting to relate as I'm reading every night back to, M-step testing is coming and we're studying super hard. So I'm starting to make a self-to-text connection with this book. I'm going to read chapter 7 of Dr. Nicholas is Ridiculous to you. The truth about Dr. Nicholas. We have lunch in a vomitorium. It used to be called the cafetorium until some kid threw up there last year. It was gross. I sat with the guys and Alexia. Then Andrea and Emily came over and we had to squeeze together to make room for them. Emily had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Alexia had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Neil, the nude kid, had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Just about everybody had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Everybody except me. This would so be me. I had a piece of cake. I held it up for everyone to see. Now this is a piece of cake, I told them. Naturally, we all started talking about Dr. Nicholas and how weird she was. If she was a real doctor, I said she should cure sick people. That's what doctors do. Maybe she cured sick people in history, said Neil. She's the weirdest history teacher in history, Ryan said. Yeah, Michael said. I bet nobody else teaches the history of toilet bowls and Barbie dolls. Maybe she's not a real teacher at all, I said. Did you ever think about that? What do you mean, AJ? Asked Alexia. Well, maybe Dr. Nicholas kidnapped the real history teacher, I said. Old ladies don't kidnap people, Neil said. Old ladies don't jump rope either, I told him. Dr. Nicholas has probably kidnapped our real history teacher and sent her back in time with a time machine. Stop trying to scare me, Emily, said Andrea. I'm not scared, said Emily. Yeah, right. Now our real history teacher is probably being tortured in a castle during the 13th century. Stuff like that happens all the time, you know. We have got to do something, shouted Emily. And then she went running out of the vomitorium. I slapped my head. Jeez, get a grip. That girl will fall for anything. After Emily left, Andrea was sitting there with her worried face. What's the matter with you, I asked. Did you lose your encyclopedia? No, I'm worried about our school, Andrea told me. In just 2 days, we have to take the test again, and Mr. Klutz said the school will close if we don't do better. But we're not going to do very well if we're learning the history of toilet bowls and Barbie dolls. I realized Andrea was right for once in her life. Learning about history of toilet bowls and Barbie dolls was cool, but it wouldn't help us on the test. And if we failed again, elementary school would be shut down forever. Then we'd have to go to Dirk School, which is a school for dorks on the other side of town. What are we going to do? Asked Alexia. Beats me, said Neil the nude kid. Neil looked at me, I looked at Ryan, Ryan looked at Michael, and Michael looked at Andrea, and Andrea looked at Neil. Everybody was looking at each other. We were in trouble. I love this book. We talked about idioms in 4th grade in that piece of cake. And in this book, they say, oh, it's a piece of cake. And we talked about how in the idioms that it doesn't mean it's a literal piece of cake, which our friend here, AJ, continues to think it's literally a piece of cake. But when we say a piece of cake, it really means it's easy, right? Although I would love to have cake at lunch and not a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but that's just me. So this is a super good book, and there are questions after it. And it asks you the cause and effect. So if you look at your comprehension questions right now, you can pull them out or look on your computer with them, and we can go through them a little bit. What's the cause? The effect is the cafeteria is not called the vomitorium. It should be now. I think it's now. So it's now called the vomitorium. And the cause is, why do they call it that? What happened? What made that effect? The cause is that a kid threw up in there last year, right? So you would fill in, the cause is that a kid threw up in the cafeteria. So now it's called the vomitorium. It says supporting details, cite 2 pieces of evidence from the story supports that the following statement. Dr. Nicholas is the weirdest history teacher in history. So what made her weird? What made her crazy? Think about it. Go back and look in your book. And think about, you could even just look at chapter 7. If that's the only chapter you've read, you can use evidence from there. What are the 2 things they said? Well, they said she teaches students about the history of toilet bowls. But I need to use the race strategy and make sure I've restated the question as I answer. So, Dr. Nicholas is the weirdest history teacher in history because she taught her students about toilet bowls. In the story, Dr. Nicholas is ridiculous. So I restated the question, I answered the question, and I also gave you my source. Oh, if I had more time, I would be giving you evidence to support that up. And I might say on chapter 7, they were talking about her teaching toilet bowls. Then reason number 2, you can think of several, right? She brought this time machine in. She's done several silly things. But if we were looking just at chapter 7, if that's all you've read, we could say she taught her kids the history of Barbie dolls. How's that going to relate to the test? I would need to restate the question and use the race strategy and say, Dr. Nicholas is the weirdest history teacher in history because she was teaching her students about Barbie dolls. In the story, Dr. Nicholas is ridiculous. If I wanted to add evidence, I could say things like, I've never learned about the history of Barbie dolls in my history class. Or, I'm really pretty sure that's weird because probably Barbie dolls are not going to be on the test. The next question says, reread and clarify if needed. Why are AJ and his friends worried their school is in trouble? Why are they worried? That's how chapter 7 ended. If you go back in your book and you look on page, it's the 3rd page of our chapter 7. And it says in there, where does it say? But it wouldn't help us on the test. And if we were to fail again, right there, elementary school would be shut down forever. Then we'd have to go to Dirk School, which is the school across town for dorks, right? So I had to use the race strategy and restate that question. I could say AJ and his friends are worried their school is in trouble in Dr. Nicholas is ridiculous because they are worried that their school will close down if they do not test well. Okay. To do an even better job, I should go back and say on the 3rd page of chapter 7 as my evidence, right? Citing that source. Where exactly did I get it? If I wanted to do even better, I could put in quotations exactly what the student said, what I just reread to you. So making sure you use the RACE strategy and memorizing that is super important. I know we work on that across grades 3 through 5, but RACE, reading strategy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. You can watch some YouTube videos, catch yourself up a little bit, memorize that before you go to M-Step, and then as you're asked essay questions in the M-Step, ba-bam, you got it. Have a great night. Thanks for coming to read Chapter 7. I'll see you later, guys.